Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090J, man. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on Lil Mosey, who just made headlines, and he's facing some pretty serious accusations. Apparently, he's facing life in prison. Lil Mosey, the 19-year-old rapper from a suburb in Washington State, blew up in the rap world in 2017 and had the worst XXL freshman freestyle in 2019. To be honest, I haven't seen or heard of him until that freestyle, and after, I never saw his face again until now. Fast forward to April 22nd, 2021, every media outlet is speaking on the fact that Mosey has a warrant out for his arrest and faces the possibility of life in state prison for some serious accusations. Back in January of 2020, detectives made contact with the friend of the woman Lil Mosey is accused of raping. She told him there was a cabin party in Randall, Washington, and she had received a text from her friend about the party, so the two decided to go. They arrived seeing several people they didn't know, so they kept to themselves throughout the night, and at whichever point someone brought White Claws and champagne, so the two began to drink. She said she didn't remember much after drinking the champagne, but she remembers walking upstairs and entering a bedroom in her bra and underwear, and someone saying there's a video of her having sex. She claims there were a lot of boys in the room, and that she grabbed her friend, the one Mosey allegedly raped, to leave. Detectives made contact with the victim, and at that point, it was noted the woman had no specific memory of a rape taking place. When they got in their vehicle, Lil Mosey got in the car and pulled his pants down, and the woman claims this is where her memory gets fuzzy. The next thing she remembered is being in the cabin with guys on her, and Cisco, later identified by police as Francisco Prater, saying, wake up, suck this dick, bitch." The woman admitted to having consensual sex with Mosey in the car, but not with Cisco. And she clearly remembered Cisco being on top of her and her eyesight being hazy. She said he had his dick out, and she remembered pulling it out of her because it hurt. At one point, she opened her eyes seeing two dicks and said she watched it come out of her like she was pulling it out. Then one of them attempted to force their dick inside of her mouth. She later received a message from one of the people at the party that said the guys were talking about training two girls, and she found herself with injuries she couldn't explain, like bruising on her neck, arm, and inner knees. About a month later, the victim contacted detectives with more details from that night. She remembered being carried by Cisco at the top of the stairs in the cabin and hitting her head on something before being laid down in bed and blacking out. When she woke up, Mosey was already in her room and got on top of her, pushing her legs apart while having sex with her. She remembered the pain in her leg muscles from him pushing. She blacked out again and woke up to Cisco forcing himself inside of her as Mosey left the room to go downstairs. Now, these charges were filed in court earlier this month, even though the incident took place in January of last year, and a hearing was scheduled for the 21st in which Mosey didn't show, resulting in a warrant for his arrest on charges of second-degree rape and $50,000 in fines. Both him and his co-defendant Cisco have been charged in the case and face up to a life sentence in Washington State Prison. At this time, neither of them have turned themselves in, and Mosey has deleted everything off his Instagram, while Cisco turned the comments off on all of his pictures. Now, first quarter, anytime I hear something with a rapper, an athlete, an actor, and it involves a woman claiming she got raped, I don't really ever jump the gun and I'm like, oh, he must have did it. Because at the end of the day, these dudes, rappers, whoever got the clout, right? The clout and the money, you get mad women at the end of the day. And if we're throwing a party and we invite you to the party, most of these women know what type of time it is. We're not inviting you here because we're having fine dining and dates and getting to know you. You're most likely coming for the purpose of having sex with somebody. For you to get blackout drunk, first off, no one's forcing you to drink. It already says in the report that the two women more or less didn't know anybody, but got blackout drunk. Now, if you're gonna drink socially to ease up, not knowing anyone, I can understand that. But to drink excessively to the point that you're blacking out on White Claws and fucking champagne, I don't know, bro. At the end of the day, the girl states that she had consensual sex with Mosey in the car, right? So you're fucking a car, but you won't fuck in the house. And then in the cabin, someone else got involved. I can understand that. She was down to fuck one guy because he's the actual famous one, but she didn't want to fuck the lesser known friend. Okay, that makes sense. And then the second time, I guess Mosey got on top of her, whatever. She didn't want to have sex that time. So if I'm with a girl, right, and we do the nasty, I'm assuming we're going to keep doing it throughout the night. Like, what is this? Just some one round fucking, you know what I mean? Like, do I need to ask permission every step of the way? Like, oh, can I move this way? Can we do it again? Can we run it back? Like, most women that I know of don't even like that shit. They like the assertive, grab them and fucking, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta be really fucking careful when you start making money and dealing with females that, will look for any opportunity to make a scandal, because it will ruin your fucking career. And I'm not saying that the allegations aren't true. I'm not saying that the women are lying, but at the end of the day, how do you remember all the details a whole month later? That doesn't really make sense to me. How do you remember all of the details? You called the detectives. They contacted you. You didn't really remember shit, but you called them, and now it's like, oh, I remember this, that. I bumped my head here, this, that, and the third. I don't know. I'm not really going for it. Just because there's been so many cases of rappers and everyone else being charged with something similar to this, and a lot of them end up beating it, or it gets dropped, and then they sue for, someone lying on their name. But at the end of the day, in the US, women really have to do nothing to put that type of banner on somebody. And when that stain gets put on your name, it's damn near impossible for a man to have it removed. There's been careers ruined because of false accusations. There's been people that were supposed to go to the NFL. That dream was crushed because of false accusations. And there's no punishment for the woman that starts the false accusation. So don't think I'm on here bashing women and rape victims. I'm not. I'm just saying that when it comes to people with money, rappers, athletes, etc., a lot of these cases are bullshit because people are looking for come-ups, whether it's fame, being able to be the woman that steps up like, oh, I'm the one that he did this to, or whether it's money. They're trying to get a cash grab. Okay, well, we're going to take you to court, but we won't go all the way because we'll settle for you to just throw us some money and the case will disappear. Now, how do I think Mosey and Cisco will do in prison? First off, I would never want a co-defendant named Cisco. That just sounds like somebody that is not going to hold it down in court. But second off, I don't know, because, apparently he's from the suburbs. He dropped out of high school and moved to LA. He seems like a good kid in his interviews. He doesn't seem like he's really on that bullshit. And we're talking about Washington State. We're not talking about a California prison, a Florida prison, a New York prison. I don't know shit about Washington. Seattle, it rains a lot. I think that's where Twilight was. I don't fucking know anything else about that area of the United States. Like, doesn't it border Canada? I can't imagine their prisons are that off the chain. They are on the West Coast. I'm not sure if California politics apply to Washington State. But, if it's just like a regular sweet prison, I'm sure it won't be that big of a deal. Now, if there's some serious politics, it might be a big fucking difference, being that, he's a rapper who's obviously famous and he's got a sex charge. This is a sex charge at the end of the day. You go to prison with a rape case, that's not something you want to talk about, and that's not something you want people to know. Because at the end of the day, nobody likes sex offenders, especially inside of a fucking prison. I don't know if they check paperwork out there. There's states on the East Coast, they don't check paperwork at all. Sex offenders and snitches, they just get to ride through prison like it ain't nothing, because nobody's going out of their way to check them and who they are. But to be a rapper, you're already known by everyone. It would be pretty hard to not be recognized in a prison system. And then everyone's gonna point out, oh, that's Jit with the rape charge. And they're probably gonna take him up through there. Now I expect very soon for Mosey to turn himself in along with Cisco. And we're just gonna have to go from there, and we're gonna have to see how this case progresses. But hey, it's 1090 J. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. Until next time.